Hello, everyone.
You gotta talk louder.
Hello, everyone. My name is Darrah Perez. I am a writer and poet from this community. I have been asked to do a presentation, and I have chosen to talk about suicide during this Heal the Community event. I would like to start by talking about a book that I wrote. This book is called It Never Happened. In my book, I talk about my life's hardships, and one of those hardships was me growing up without my father because he chose to end his own life by suicide. There is a chapter titled Suicide is Not an Answer, where I speak about the struggles of growing up without my father, how it made me feel, how I dealt with it, how it affected me, and how I deal with it now. So in this presentation, I have chosen the topic, Suicide is Not an Answer. I hope by me talking about this topic that I can plant the seed within each mind that suicide is never okay. Before I begin, let's please just bow our heads in a moment of silence for those we have lost to suicide, to drug and alcohol addiction, and to death in general. Suicide is not an answer because it affects all those left behind. It leaves unanswered questions, and it creates confusion, anger, and sadness. Suicide is not an answer because it is selfish and not the only way to deal with life's hardships and issues. Suicide is not an answer because life may be hard sometimes, but sometimes doesn't ever have to equal to forever. Suicide is not an answer, for there are many people who care about another person's well-being, their goals, their dreams, and who want nothing but the best for another. Suicide is not an answer, for leaving loved ones behind not only creates sadness, but also anger, because suicide is selfish. It is selfish for not thinking about how taking your own life would affect me or those you love. Suicide is not an answer because all you have to do is reach out and ask for help. People tend to get too preoccupied and busy with their own lives that it doesn't always seem we will be heard. But I'm certain there would be no problem in dropping everything to make one understand that they are cared for. Wake up. We want you around for as long as possible. We are all special in our own way. We each have ups and downs. We each struggle with depression from time to time. Life is not easy, and it was never designed to be. Suicide is not the way to deal with the hardships of life. I believe and know that writing, talking, being creative, creating art, as well as many other ways in which problems can be healed. There are many ways to allow healing of the heart, healing of the mind, and healing of the soul. Releasing our problems into the universe is a great way to lift it up off of our shoulders. To live life free of regrets and free of secrets, let me tell you how easier life tends to get. Once that can be done, there are no worries, no hidden agendas, and no huge downfalls. The doorways tend to open where we meet new people, travel to new places, and experience new things. Suicide is not an answer. Suicide is not a solution. Suicide is not a way to make life easier. Suicide is not a way to run. For suicide is not an answer. Running from problems only tends to make matters worse. The exact same problems we try to run from are left there patiently waiting once we get tired of running. It is best to just deal with our problems and get on living life to the fullest. When life gets us down and suicide clouds the mind, what must be done? When problems get too big to deal with on our own, what should we do? I'm going to answer that for you. we should ask for help. Asking for help is acceptable. We all need help from others from time to time. I don't care if one may be a psychologist, a psychiatrist, a doctor, a teacher, a counselor. It doesn't matter. We all need someone to talk to, someone to listen, someone to give us validation, because we all need love. Love is what life is about. Without love, what tends to happen? For instance, when we don't love a pet enough to feed it, give it water, take care of it, what happens? What happens to plants when we don't water them, give them light, allow them fresh air? They start to shrivel up and die, right? Well, the same thing goes for people. When we don't communicate, interact, and open up with others, something begins happening. We begin to get depressed, lonely, the feelings of being unworthy come. The thoughts that no one cares, I don't care, F my life, I don't want to live no more. I'm just going to drink, get high, and be self-destructive. We don't realize that being self-destructive is the same as suicide. Just because it may take longer to drink ourselves to death, or smoke ourselves to death, or anything that kills us little by little, it is all the same. Suicide is not an answer. Suicide is not okay. Suicide is when we need to reach out and ask for help. Suicide is when we need to be aware, give more hugs, visit with each other more often, go see family and friends, and be a great listener. We all need to help each other out. For suicide is not an answer. This life is not easy. If we each pick each other up when we fall, we can each make it to the finish line a winner. Providing love, helping others, inspiring, motivating, and encouraging others is far better than winning a race meant for only one winner. A race with many winners of many different people from many different backgrounds is a race that holds a great story. A story that is told by knowing in your heart, mind, and soul that suicide is not an answer. Believing in the power of faith is so important to everyday living. To wake up and have appreciation for life is very important. Seeing the beauty in another day granted, whether the sky is blue or gray, the weather doesn't matter. Clouds, rain, snow, a beautiful sunshine, take no day for granted. I wake up each morning, I get a cup of water, and I pray to the direction that the sun rises. I thank the Creator for another majestic day. I pray for my loved ones. I pray for healing and protection. I pray for the righteousness of mankind, animal life, plant life, and everything of this earth. I pour out my prayers to the Creator, and when I feel the peaceful surrounding and serenity, I then pour a little water out of my cup onto the ground as my form of respect to the Creator. I then drink the rest to absorb the prayers that I pray each morning. I always have faith and believe that my prayers are heard, and that when the Creator feels fit to answer them, He will, all in His own time. For I know I didn't keep my wants and wishes inside my being, but instead released them into the universe. When the Creator, the divine angels, and the spirit protectors can then manifest a grand destiny and direction for my life. Patience is the key to having faith, for with patience, the light within us stays illuminated and remains bright. To see and know when prayers are answered is a wonderful thing, for you know instantly when answers are granted. Because within your being you feel grateful, and always the emotions of being blessed with positive effects are so grand that tears begin to well up in your eyes. It is then you know that the Creator is listening and watching. It is then you know that you are not alone, no matter how sometimes it is felt that we are completely abandoned, lost, and lonely. The power of prayer, the power of faith, and the power of hope are a massive combination that can and will very well bring out joyful abundance. It is just up to each one of us to ask and not keep silent for what it is our very soul's desire. For those who don't pray and who don't believe, and who have lost faith or hope, just try again. Try again and remember that everything happens for a reason. Everything is meant for us to learn and grow and become stronger to one day help others become the best at what they are meant to be. Prayer is power. Prayer opens doorways that non-prayers cannot. The doorways to abundance, the doorways to a peaceful, calming, soothing life filled with faith, hope, and never-ending love. I am a believer that all things can be conquered with love. Sometimes I have a hard time giving up on people because I believe I can help and save everyone. I just recently learned that that is not true. If a person doesn't want another's help or to even be saved, there is nothing that can be done until that person is ready to accept outside help. All I can do is keep talking in hopes that my words will touch just one person. I am happy with when one person gets the message, either from my book, my poems, or my spoken presentations. I am a big believer that true love is not as popular in this world, in this time. For I witness day in and day out the interactions between people gone. No one talks face to face anymore. We all rely on these things. Phones. We rely on phones for everything, to communicate through email, Facebook, social media, texting. We all live in an area that is so beautiful. The reservation, for one, has a lot of beautiful scenery and a lot of artistic people. I once had a discussion with some people from here, and the question was asked, have you ever been out to Eastby? Have you ever been out to Fort Washy? And they said no. I was kind of shocked because I see these towns every day. And I'm like, what do you mean? You've never been to the reservation? Why? That's when it kind of got awkward. I spoke with a gal who runs a business here and who once lived in a city. Her observation is that she has never before seen so much prejudice like in this area. And prejudice doesn't only mean one race against another. It happens against one another from people, even in our own families. I have lived other places as well when I was younger. I have traveled to New York, Florida, California, and many other cities. And I have to agree with this lady's observation. I do a lot of reading, studying, and researching. I have been to the museums of this area, and I must say, the historical trauma here is big. But family trauma is a big factor as well. Everything that has happened in the past is very well present here in the future. Until we can begin to forgive and love one another, if we don't do that, then nothing will ever change. I have learned through my life's experience how to just live for today. For tomorrow is never promised, which I learned from my grandmother's passing. Yesterday is gone, which I understood after writing my book. The title, It Never Happened, came to me when I looked back at my past mistakes and knew deep in my heart that I was no longer that same person. I knew I had finally gotten a little of life figured out. I have learned to show appreciation for all mankind, animals, creatures, creation. To me, it is so hypocritical for a person to say, no, I don't hate people, or no, I'm not an angry person, or yes, I love all things, and then don't have the connection to love all the living things revolved around life. So my question is, do we really know what love is about? Love is more than a love for a husband, a wife, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a son, a daughter, a mother, a father, a grandmother, a grandfather, a niece, a nephew, a cousin, a godchild, anyone. Love is love for all people, for all things, for all the Creator's creation. For if you cannot honestly love all of His creations, then I say, you just don't know what true love really is.